Another week, another trading cycles video. We're now in week 47 of the year 2023. My name is Eric, and before we continue here, press the like button if you haven't already. Get subscribed if you haven't already. Press the bell notification icon if you haven't already. And guess what? Leave a comment if you have any questions, if you haven't already. Before we continue further on here, I would also like to remind you that we do not provide financial advice here. All the content that we share is intended for educational purposes only, and always trade the price and not the prediction. Let's hear what Ormus has to say about what's happened this past week and what we may expect to see this upcoming week, with especially with Thanksgiving being right around the corner, and how does that affect the markets here? How are you doing, Ormus?
Yes, indeed. I'm doing very well. Thank you. I hope everyone else as well. How are you doing, Eric?
Yeah, not too bad. So I'm doing all right. Thank you very much for asking. I've been getting back on track with personal life outside of work, and it's been going well. It's thanks for asking.
That's good to hear. Good to hear. So yeah, let's have a look at the markets. And last week was quite important one, and I will explain shortly why. Obviously, we've been in seasonal, one of the best seasonal periods of the year, yeah, so far, and it's been working quite well so far. And now let's bring up our information here. So seasonally, we did see that last week should have been fairly positive, and so it was indeed. So it wasn't exact this time, but yeah, more or less. Now, what happened exactly was that the market capped up quite heavily on Tuesday's open, and after that it stayed kind of on the same level. Yeah. So, and statistically, it was also predicted that the week will be quite positive, and as I mentioned already, we are in this seasonal bullish period. Now, same goes for Qs as well, yeah. So basically, this information pointed out that it might be finding low on Tuesday and the highest point on Thursday. Now, 50-day moving average has been rising quite heavily in the light of that positivity on the market. So it is now above 50, almost 60, about 61 already. Yeah? And the same goes for 200-day moving average. It's been now also an uptrend and has reached 50% area already. So these are good indications that market is seeing some positivity there. Yeah. Now there is another view to cover. This is basically from barchart.com, and it is Alexander Elder's one of his techniques, and basically what we see here is new highs, new lows of the market, and it's adjusted or calculated by the market cap. So basically, when certain levels are reached, we might see a turning point. And that goes both for new highs and new lows. So green is new highs and red is new lows. And if we look at the levels what we have reached now on Tuesday, it did reach 30,000 points here, and basically when it has happened before, we have seen that the market tends to turn on these points. Yeah, so same happened in December last year and in February this year. It's not obviously ideal, but it does give us some sort of indication. And same goes for bottoms, basically. Yeah. So when these reach some sort of peak, then yeah, the market tends to turn again. So if the new lows are getting to a certain level by market cap. So yeah, we are reaching this high here, and obviously we have now been in quite bullish price moment as well. So basically it makes us a bit cautious at this stage. Yeah? Now, sector performance, I have teach that sector rotation graph, because that's quite difficult to understand for quite many our followers. So let's look at the normal sector performance by the bar chart. That's a bit easier to understand. So for the last week, we did see quite a bit of positivity, as I mentioned already, but the winners were real estate, basic materials, and utilities, basically. But all of them were quite positive. Now, in the last months, statistics, we have seen technology obviously leading, and the worst performance was by energy sector in the last month. So fear and greed has popped up from fear to greed. Okay, so no gray zones here, only black and white. All right.
Everyone's
and yeah, we are greedy, straight from fear to greed. All right. Now, astrologically, last week was kind of showing that we might have some risk taking there, and it did go in that direction indeed. So these are quite significant aspects that we had on Friday that did indicate that market might go up quite a bit. Now, next week is showing quite a bit of negativity here in the second half of the week. So that makes us a bit cautious as well. So these aspects are not the nicest one to handle. And we also have a Thanksgiving coming up on Thursday. Yeah, so Thursday the markets are closed. Those holiday patterns, what we have covered before, they tend to be quite true, that the market tends to rise to the holiday and then drop after the holidays. So we might see that sort of price movement this time as well, although our seasonals are pointing to some other patterns. But well, anyway, we have to be careful in these times anyway, but there is some contradiction, unfortunately, so not all of them are pointing to the same direction. Now, seasonally, we are reaching now, well, we might find a top quite soon, or at least market might start correcting at some point here. Our 60-year cycle or decade cycle has now basically stopped working. So it's been pointing to the opposite direction the whole month so far. So we just need to wait and see what's going to happen there. But at the moment, it is going to the opposite direction. And if it is now inverted, so basically that should indicate that we might have a market top here just before holidays, and then the market starts dropping. So basically going to the other direction. So that's something to bear in mind as well, maybe. Now, Mars cycle is also indicating that we might have a top coming. That should be, if I'm correct, somewhere around 20th or maybe 22nd. So also next week. So after that, we will possibly see market decline. And Mercury cycle is also pointing to the downside when the next Mercury retrograde is coming in December. So that's one of the areas we might find another bottom here. Okay. Our aspect model is also pointing to the downside next week. This week was quite positive, as we see here, quite good peak upside, but next week is more negative. Okay. Now, technically, we have followed those lines before, but I did take a screenshot this time. So basically, what we are finding at this time is that we are in this downward channel, or were actually, not anymore. And we did break out in the beginning of November here. And if we measure that width of the channel, then we get this line, this red line here on top of that when I put it on the breakout point. And then we will find that level, what we have now almost reached. And we are facing quite a bit of resistance here coming up as well. So these are all indications that we might find market topping, and there is going to be a turn quite soon. Yeah. All right. So next week's seasonal, yes, are pointing to that upside and quite heavily to the upside. So obviously I am a bit cautious about it. So they're not always right. And as I mentioned, so we might find a top here before Thanksgiving, and Friday might be negative already, but we shall see how it's going to go. Same goes for Qs as well, yeah. And our statistical model is also making us a bit cautious here. So we will see soon quite a bit of negativity coming up here on the market as well, based on that seasonal statistics. But so far, so good. We are still in this good growth area, yeah, basically. In macro view, we did get inflation numbers coming out, and for US, the inflation was dropping quite a bit, and that was good news, obviously, for markets. Same goes for Eurozone. I think the inflation, if we count out energy and food, did go as low as 2.9, yeah. So that's fairly good overall level already for Eurozone as well, yeah. So that was quite good news. Next week is going to be very slow in regards any macro news. So it is holiday week in US, and obviously nobody's gonna try that hard anymore. They're all in celebration mood there. Turkeys are getting prepared. Yeah. Now there is one company that did catch my eye, and not because it's a good company, not only that, but there was a market pattern or technical pattern that I did see, which is not so oftenly seen, but when it occurs, it's quite important. So we did on Wednesday, the 15th, the market topped. It did gap up quite a bit, and then next day on Thursday it did gap down quite a bit. Yeah, so we did see that lone candle here, and basically that would mostly point to the market turn, and quite important one. So we might see a market dropping from here on, at least Costco, yeah, if we take this into account. Now we are facing basically this resistant zone as well. So market has topped out possibly, yeah. And if I did look into the first trade chart astrologically, then I did see that there has been quite heavy aspect going on from Pluto to Costco's sun in the chart, and every time it has peaked, market has topped. Yeah, so basically we might see another top coming maybe later on this year, or maybe we did top out already. So there is another aspect going on, which is Jupiter trine to Sun, which is quite positive. It was taking place firstly in this summer when the market was heavily rising, and then second aspect was on the 15th, yeah, basically when the market topped. So we might have seen this aspect now exhausting itself, although one more is coming in February next year. All right. And if you look at our cyclical prediction here, basically that also is pointing to the downside now, and we might find the bottom somewhere maybe early next year, and then we might have another rise to the February, and then basically from there on things are getting a bit better. So we will keep an eye obviously on this company as well. But at the moment, yes, it is wise to be careful if you have position in that company, or if you are risk adverse, then obviously you might want to look for short opportunities. Obviously, we can't give you any advice here. We're not your financial advisor. Everyone needs to do the study themselves, but it is quite interesting pattern that has come up on this market. Yeah. Now let's get back to our charts. So next week we got turning point on Wednesday, 22nd, and the next one is coming up is on Monday, the 27th. Yeah. So we shall see what the market is going to do. Maybe it's going to top out on Wednesday. Yeah. So at the moment we haven't seen any important turns occurring last week. Yeah. So that's going still in the right direction. Now gold market did turn. It started rising from Monday, and the turning point was actually on Wednesday, but yeah, it did start early, and the next one is coming up next Wednesday as well, before Thanksgiving. So something to be aware of. And Bitcoin has been now basically moving sideways. Nothing significant has happened here. So we are in this basically downward pressure zone, yeah, and that is showing in the price action as well. So it hasn't found any good direction. Obviously, participants are quite positive, but there is some downward pressure as well from seasonal tendencies. All right. So what else we got here? Wix has been steadily dropping, yeah. So soon we are reaching this important zone as well, where it tends to turn. So that's making us a bit cautious as well again, yeah. And now what else? Let's look at sectors as well, yeah. As we did stitch our sector rotation graph. So let's look at them one by one now. So firstly, consumer discretionary, which is consumer cyclical otherwise, yeah, basically is quite positive, but let me go back to this one. Yeah, so we are seeing it possibly topping out now. Yeah, so there might be another turn coming as well. So indicators are pointing to that conclusion. Now, same goes for communication. So we did possibly top out already. So there might be another turn coming. At least there is tendency for that. And then technology sector is quite heavily overbought, and there are signs as well that it might start turning. Now, basic materials are showing to the upside still, yeah. So there is no turn yet, and industrials are possibly topping out already as well. All right. Energy is pointing to the upside a bit. Yeah, so there is some bullishness coming to this market. And consumer staples basically is also quite negative at the moment. Yeah. Okay. Healthcare is showing to the upside. So healthcare might be still, or might have some more power to go to the upside, and utilities is also pointing to that direction. Yeah. Financials possibly topping out already. Yeah, so there might be turn coming. And real estate is still positive. No signs of topping out yet, but it might follow the rest of the market if the market turns. Yeah. All right. So that's the overall view of sectors as well. And we did see our signal occurring in the beginning of the month, so that was positive signal, and so the market has been following it. Next signal should come up early next week, hopefully, but we will cover that then next time. Until then, have a good week, and yeah, happy trading if you are into trading, and otherwise enjoy Thanksgiving. All right.
All right. Thank you very much, Romas, as always, and thank you for watching and listening. Let's see what the week brings us. As I mentioned in the beginning of the video and throughout the video as well, Thanksgiving is upon us soon, and usually that has those sorts of holidays tend to have an effect on the market, as discussed. So let's see how this time around Thanksgiving affects the markets. Let's see what the week brings us. That's it from me. I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you enjoyed the content that we share. If you do, hit that like button, click the subscribe button, and the bell notification icon. Share the video with your friends or family. And if you have any questions or any recommendations you want to make, those go in the comment section down below. That's it from me for this week. I will see you next week. Have a great one. Bye-bye.